Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 311 of the All You Can Hear podcast, Summer of Fisting Punch 2. I'm joined today by my two other furious co-hosts. I'm Wenzel, by the way.
Bang, 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 bang. Murderer, Colt.
Okay, that's not a good name.
Fist Tornado Tanner.
That's a great name.
Mega Murder Punch, Colt.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, but you had to do 2 times, Colt.
It's because everybody gets a power up.
True. Everybody gets a power up.
What do you think my power up is from Fist Tornado?
April 21st, 2011.
7th.
Fuck. Never forget.
Jesus.
Tanner has a fist tornado. Colt has just a big killer punch.
Just a murder punch.
Yeah.
We're finally back.
Yep.
After an extended, not necessarily planned break.
Yeah, we had some lucky wuckies.
It was not
we're
planned.
back. Yeah, not planned. But we're back. We're in the driver's seat, bringing you Summer Fisting. And now it actually kind of lines up where the last summer, because it's going to be, from the time you're listening to this, it's going to be every other week for the next remaining Summer Fistings. And the last Summer Fisting actually comes out on Labor Day. So
it works out.
Labor Day is like the end of the summer, like cut off. So it kind of works out that now.
Yeah.
Last Summer Fisting comes out Labor Day. But what movie are we talking about today? Because I don't know. I haven't seen it.
We're talking about 1985's Police Story. We're in the 80s now. Here we are.
So
we went a decade in the future right there.
We really wanted to get in the mindset for this, so we did drop a ton of psychedelics.
Yes, we did.
I feel like that's the wrong drug. We did a lot of cocaine, or I did a lot of cocaine.
Oh, maybe it is cocaine. Yeah.
Psychedelics are still around in the mid 80s,
but cocaine's really booming.
Cocaine's really popular in the 80s.
Okay, well, so what we did is I made kind of like a slurry where I took a bunch of cocaine and some mushrooms, powdered up the mushrooms, mixed it into the cocaine, into everybody's cocaine.
Well, you know what we could do? We could freeze the cocaine, like you said, make it into a slush, put it in like a cup, like a Slurpee cup. Add in some mushrooms, some cherry dye, or cherry flavoring. Bam.
I did not say make cocaine into a slushy. I said like a slurry.
I shoved it up my butt so it melted and got to my blood faster.
That would be the most complicated way. I don't even know if you could do that with cocaine.
Probably not, but I'd like to try.
Would you?
No.
Yeah.
I would like to know, though. I'd like to
if anybody wants to crowdfund us testing out freezing cocaine, hit us up. Hit Wenzel up specifically. Wenzel does have like kind of the background, I guess, in smuggling drugs in and out of countries. So I guess you would probably want to hit him up.
Man, he's gonna get banned.
I'll just delete everything off this doc so you guys can just wing it.
Tanner's the one that said it.
So here we go. There you go.
It'd be really funny if he didn't use cut and he couldn't undo.
Yeah. Yeah. So we watched Police Story. We watched on HBO Max, Max. Just Max.
The one to watch HBO.
Yeah. It's also on Criterion. If you have Criterion channel, you can watch it there. Or right now, Barnes & Noble is having their. Wait, would this come out during July?
Yeah, this still comes out in July.
Okay, so Barnes & Noble is currently having their 50% off Criterion sale. So go pick up that because I'll just say it. We all really love this movie.
This movie. So I've actually owned the Criterion of this movie, Police Story and Police Story 2 for like 5. It was one of my first Criterions I bought, I believe. And I've just never.
I think so. Yeah.
Never sat down and watched it. But this movie kicks so much fucking ass. It's unreal. And it's the whole runtime. Like there's just no downtime.
Yeah. Around like 20 minutes into the movie, I said, guys, I think this is the best movie we're gonna watch.
Yeah, Colt. Literally, it was not through the first action set piece. Literally, Jackie Chan's hanging off a bus like 14 minutes into the movie, and Colt goes, "Yeah, I think this is going to be the best movie we watch for this." I would be shocked if we watch another movie, even in this like stratosphere of movies that we're watching for Summer of Fisting. I would be shocked if anything is as close to as good as this.
Absolutely, because like I've seen the rate. Wait, people.
What?
Wait, we announced that, right? We
Yeah,
said
what?
yeah.
we were gonna-
Mhm.
Okay, sorry. So I've seen the raid. I love it, of course. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. This is better. Like, this is insane. This is such a cool fucking movie. And then as soon as Colt said that, I was like, okay, we'll see. But then I can't even remember what sold me on it. Because I mean, I was probably right there. I was like, okay, this is really fucking great. But then there was another scene, I can't remember which one, but I was just like, okay, fuck, this might actually be the best movie we see out of this Summer of Fisting. Because Jesus Christ, it kicks, as Tanner said, so much ass.
And
God.
also, this movie got it's not native. Obviously, it's not like a native 4K restoration, but it is in like the highest possible quality ever. And
Yeah, it
and
looks
watching
like a
it last
modern
night,
film, but not.
and the colors pop so much in this movie, like especially like Jackie Chan's character, who like the whole movie is wearing like just like turquoise and yellow shirts, it just pops off the fucking screen, and it's just
Yeah.
so stylish, and it blows my mind that a movie like this was made like 40 years ago. And I guess kind of have to get in that time or in that headset. Was like, well, you know, people weren't like Neanderthals in 1985, so it makes sense that they can make something that looked like this cool. But for it to like stand up to like modern movies like from the last 40 years, like, because and I know we'll get into it, but like I would put this movie up against the best movies I've probably have watched in the last 5 years.
That's fair.
That
Like,
is
I
fair.
mean it, like if I was to make a ranking right now of every movie I've ever seen, Police Story is fucking high because it just kicked so
It was
much ass.
You're not wrong, because I was thinking about this too last night on my way taking Colt home after we watched this movie. I was just thinking about it. I was like, God damn, this might be up there with one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's just God, it's so stylish. So freaking
It's
stylish.
it's so crazy. And also too, back in 2019, it actually did that's when it got its 4K restoration and was actually in theaters for a little bit in North America.
God, I would have
Huh.
loved to have seen this in
I would
theater.
have loved to see this.
That-
Holy shit.
Does remind, while we're talking about it, there is another movie that I know we all love that's getting a run in theaters in August. Old Boy is getting a 20th anniversary run in theater. I would love to see Old Boy in theaters because apparently it's like a 4K restoration of it.
Yeah, I would
I think that'd
love
be
it too.
rad.
Just because I mean I remember us watching it together. It was it was a hoot. So I think it would be even crazier to rewatch it in theaters in 4K. I just think it'd be gorgeous because it's already a gorgeous film. So I would love to experience that for the
Yeah,
first
I
time.
can imagine watching. I would equate watching Police Story probably to like. I guess the only similar theatrical experience would be probably the John Wick 4 that recently came out. Especially too because John Wick 4 and Wenzel, you've seen it. Colt, you haven't seen it, but
No.
John Wick 4 has maybe one of the best extended like physical comedy bits I've ever seen in like a movie that's meant to be like straight up action. This movie has so much physical comedy in it. It's obscene. I we're not going to talk scene by scene. I guess we should actually say like the synopsis of the movie.
Yeah.
Before we get too far into it. Wenzel,
I'll tell you. I'll give you synopsis, and I'll give you some quick info. So, synopsis: after a shootout, a slum chase, and a dangerous bus ride, Officer Chan Kukui, played by Jackie Chan, is able to arrest a big-time Hong Kong drug dealer played by Chu Tao, or not Chu Tao, sorry, Chor Yuen. I think that's his name. That's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. And must protect the dealer's secretary, played by I don't know if they pronounce it Bridget or Brigitte, but Brigitte Lin. So she may testify against him in court. And then other notable actors and characters, Maggie Cheung, it plays May, that's Chan's girlfriend. Bill Tung plays the inspector, Bill Wong, nicknamed Uncle. I don't know if they ever called him Uncle though.
No, no. Towards the end of the movie, they call him Uncle Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then Lam Kwok Hung plays Superintendent Raymond Lee, who basically runs their police department, and that's kind of it. You have a bunch of like other like smaller characters, goons, and stuff like that. And then so yeah, this is the runtime was only an hour and 40 minutes. You don't really feel it. It's not
No,
a long
it could have
movie.
gone another hour.
It
I would
could
have
have gone
been so
another
happy.
like 20 minutes or maybe longer, and I would have still been invested because it's so fucking good. Fighting style, it's kind of mixed. Jackie Chan, I believe, does kung fu. I could be wrong, but they do kung fu, which is actually something. So the stunts are all performed by his group called Jackie Chan Group, and now every member knows kung fu, and they have to be like proficient like with it. So that's also another interesting tidbit there, that when they're performing their stunts, they have to all know how to fight and know how to be very, very proficient with it, specifically kung fu. The budget is $2 million, and the box office, they made 18.7 million, so they made their money back. But into 2022, that is equivalent to $59,900,000.
That $2 million budget is crazy, considering all the shit that they destroyed in this movie. Like every single dollar put in this movie, I think, was just burnt. But it doesn't matter because I made it all back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to know like what like the breakdown is, because with this movie, Jackie Chan directed it. He's co-writer on it. He is the stunt coordinator on it. He performs
the theme song.
Yeah, the theme song,
which is played at the end of the film. It's called Hero Story.
Yeah, like he didn't write it, but he sang it. And his film company, Golden Way Films, produced it. So it's like that's just insane to me. Like, nowadays too, like it's always kind of like shocking to me when I see like a director also be like one of the main stars in their films. I'm like, man, that, especially if it's like a good performance too.
It's all thanks to him, like him acting in past movies. Like you don't see actors today where they get their start acting and then suddenly they're like, I want to direct. You don't see that.
I mean, it doesn't happen a ton, and especially doesn't happen on like this large of a scale. Like one of the, like I know the Safdie brothers have kind of like, but even then they didn't start as actors; they started as directors, and now they're kind of actors and too, and like bigger budget stuff. But I mean, I don't think, as far as like Western movies go, I don't know if anybody has ever just been like, outside of like some off the wall, like, one person film. I can't think of anybody doing so much for a movie, especially with a movie like this, like, because it's not like this was like an indie film. I mean, this was like one of the biggest movies released in Hong Kong this year. So this is like a big budget action movie. This would be like if fucking Christopher Nolan casted himself as Oppenheimer.
Fuck.
You're not wrong, because like, yeah, like the amount of involvement here is like, I guess also shows you like how much Jackie Chan like how much he appreciates like film, and also wanting to do it his way and do it like the right way, because also the stunts too, they would constantly do retakes, because even though these guys, they're all professionals, they're all proficient in kung fu, they all know what they're doing, they made mistakes, and they would have to do it over and over and over and over, and until they got it right. And it's it goes to show like how dedicated he is, and like in his involvement too of like bringing this film, and he considers it his best action film and one of his favorites.
I
That's-
mean,
yeah, it
because
shows with
I
all
don't
the
know how much higher
scores.
you can go.
Like on Letterboxd, it is his highest rated movie of all time.
Yeah,
at a 4.0.
I just don't know how high you can go. I mean, especially too, like when you think about it, because this movie was made in 85. So Jackie Chan's like 31 here. So like pretty much prime of his life, like athletically. I mean, we'll be proven wrong when we talk about our 90s film too, but like normal people usually stop being able to like physically perform at such a high level in their early to mid 30s.
Yeah.
So like for all intents and purposes, this was like prime of his athletic prime. He pretty much has complete total control of this movie. And so this movie was literally just like created in his vision of what he thinks an action movie should be.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's pretty spot on. And yeah, I mean, dude is like slim, but I mean, he's fit, man. Like
Oh yeah, like
uh
I don't know how
the-
tall Jackie Chan is, but like it's so crazy because like during the bus scene where he's like climbing in and out of the windows, like I'm just thinking the whole time, I'm like, how is that even like remotely like I mean it looks like he weighs nothing, like he has so much upper body strength. It just looks like he's just literally swinging. I can't find.
he is 5 feet and 9 inches.
Okay, so
he's
he's
normal
not
height.
short by any means.
No, he's actually taller
Not
than
normal,
me.
average-ish.
He's taller than it's close to average. I mean, if you compare it, like, I don't know. It depends on where you're from, I guess. He's taller than me though.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, dude is adept. And I mean, all that swinging and stuff, like, I mean, that takes a crazy amount of skill. I mean, there was even a thing. So also for this film, I decided, I was like, okay, I love this fucking movie so much. I was like, I gotta look up stuff about this because I gotta know the process and everything about this. So on the Criterion Channel, if anybody has the chance, go check out Jackie Chan, My Stunts. It's a documentary from 1999, and it's directed by him as well. It's only 94 minutes, so it's not super long. No. Yeah, it's 94 minutes. That's right.
Yeah, it's not long. It's around that time.
Oh, I think I thought it was an hour and 4 minutes. Anyway, that's what it said on about. Anyway, it goes into like him doing his stunts and like his process and stuff, sort of his process, more about the stunts. And they do several like bits just for the documentary, and like it's not even, I mean, it's not even sped up or anything, or it's not like the footage, some of the footage isn't sped up or slowed down. Like, I mean, he's like ducking in and out of windows and stuff. It's pretty crazy. Like how limber and flexible they are, which is also part of the stunt group's routine of like they have to make sure they exercise, they have to be lean, they have to be flexible, and they they can't be super bulky or big because then that would hurt them from doing their from doing the stunts. But they do work out and keep lean. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's the one thing I noticed in this film. I mean, everybody. I mean, which it makes sense, knowing that Jackie Chan is essentially training this like stunt group, but all of them, like none of them are what you like when you think of like a Western henchman. You think of like bulky dude, bald, like the muscle. I mean, you always think of the
Yeah.
muscle. There's really no in this movie. There's really no muscle. Everybody is just kind of like 0% body fat, pure muscle in a sense, but like
I guess it's just the difference in culture, because
Yeah,
when we
they-
think of like a good fighter in America, we think of a good, like a boxer, a fighter,
yeah,
a fist fighter. But in Hong Kong, they think of mixed martial arts.
They think of kung fu, very like, well, you say that, but like Jackie Chan was the one to like, so Bruce Lee brought in, mixed martial arts into the limelight, but Jackie Chan was the one that brought more of the physicality and the more movement to action films. he I mean, no joke, Police Story was the film that like propelled him and the idea of what it means to do stunts and to do action in films and within using martial arts in action films and for acting. Like it was because of Police Story. It was because of him. I mean, dude really propelled it forward. Bruce Lee was the foundation. Jackie Chan, not Jack Lee. Jackie Chan was the one, was the mode, the vessel. It's crazy.
Yeah, we know Bruce Lee was like big in the West, but just due to how long Bruce Lee lived, he never reached the
height that Jackie
Chan has. I mean, Jackie Chan, I would say, just based off a name, feel free to disagree with me. Like, I feel like if you say Jackie Chan, I've never met anybody that would not know who Jackie Chan is.
No, you are not wrong. Nobody can disagree with you. He's
I don't think
biggest action stars in the world.
I mean, I would say just one of the biggest stars in the world, just based off of name value. I can't think of not many other celebrities people just offhand be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. Like, I could ask my 87-year-old grandfather, I could show him a picture and he would know it was Jackie Chan.
Oh, no, for real. I can ask my, literally, whenever we're in the Philippines, we watched quite a few Jackie Chan movies. My 83-year-old Lolo, he knows Jackie Chan. Everybody knows Jackie Chan.
Yeah. I mean, just easily one of the most recognizable, probably just people on the planet of the last century. I mean, literally, I know that sounds like hyperbole, but it's the truth.
For real.
Yeah, him. And you know what? I don't know if this is a hot take or not. The Rock is going to be there in 20 years as well.
I mean, yeah, for better, yeah, yeah.
I can't disagree with that.
But, I mean, everybody knows who The Rock is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can make a list.
Yeah.
There probably is a list. But now this brings me to a question though. Is this everybody's first Jackie Chan film?
It's my first kung fu, serious, not Rush Hour Jackie Chan film.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was my first non-Rush Hour Jackie. I've maybe have watched something from Jackie Chan when I was way younger, but I watched the old cartoon show Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah.
But as far as being a conscious adult, this is my first Jackie Chan film.
Nice. I know we've talked about it quite a bit though, being because Jackie Chan being exposed to his choreography and stunts and how that blends into the acting. I mean, really though, how do we all feel? What was our feelings or reaction to seeing this?
It felt violent in a good way, shit. Thinking away, if my body could move like that, shit, I'd just be flailing constantly.
It blows my mind that he and I mean this and super serious. It is fucking shocking that A, he's still making movies, and B, that
there's gonna be a new Police Story 2. Another Police Story movie is currently in the works.
Yeah, and apparently Rush Hour 4 is in the works. So, a bunch of stuff. I don't know. But I mean, he's still doing movies. The fact that he is not bound to a wheelchair and being as old as he is and still being I think Jackie Chan could probably still kick my ass.
Oh, yes.
100%. Yeah.
And he's 70.
So. He's 69 to be exact.
Well,
Nice.
But he's looked the exact same for fucking 30 years.
Yeah, dude really you could see a little bit of the age between this and The Legend of the Drunken Master, which is actually our next movie that we'll talk about in 2 weeks.
I feel like Legend of the Drunken Master and current Jackie Chan look
the exact
similar.
Same. I agree. He has not aged since the mid-90s.
You say that, but if you've ever seen him in the new Karate Kid, and I haven't watched it, but I've seen the trailers for it, The Foreigner, you can definitely see his age, but also too, that's probably due to makeup because they wanted him to look
old as fuck in that movie.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, but no, I mean Jackie Chan, like, and you said he was what, like, you said he was 31 in this film?
Yeah,
Or something
he would have been 30 or 31 during like the making of this film. I don't know how long like shooting or anything was, but he would've been.
Now I know shooting went on for quite a while because they had to do so you know, speaking of like, so the stunts and stuff, I mean everybody says like these guys are fucking madmen,
Yeah.
these Jackie Chan's group, because they've been injured so many times. Even Jackie Chan, like he has been injured so much, not only during this film but his entire life.
Yeah. I mean,
from making
during the credits of this movie, they show like a little bit behind the scenes, and it's like one scene is like him laughing, is like, "Oh man, haha, I can't believe I didn't get that stunt right." The next scene is like him on a stretcher, being like,
Yeah.
No,
yeah, he's fucked up.
What was cool, what I like about Police Story as well, with also Legend of the Drunken Master, is that during the credits they'll show you like a little bloopers behind the scenes, and like they're not Tanner's not kidding when there was like a scene where he's actually on the floor. They've like ripped off all of his clothes and they're like fanning him, trying to like see if he's okay. So I will tell you some of the injuries here just going into it. I think that scene might have been when he actually there was a scene where he flips over a balcony and crashes through the light display, and it got him hospitalized because he just stopped breathing.
Oof.
That was his most dangerous stunt ever, like in his life. That is considered his most dangerous stunt because he almost died. And then the pole scene that you guys see within the mall, that was actually one take because there was no wires, no mats, and Jackie Chan was actually hurt from that. He got second-degree burns because the pole was superheated by accident. They were
Oh.
just supposed to plug it into a low voltage car battery, but the lights wouldn't light up like they were supposed to, so they decided they'd plug it into the wall. Well, when they did that, all the lights were just hot. They were all
God.
hot.
Oh
And
my
so
god.
that pole was insane temperature. He got second-degree burns on his hands. He got lacerations, and when he hit the ground, he dislocated his 7th and 8th vertebrae and dislocated his pelvis.
Good God.
Ugh.
Yeah, so pretty much imagine like when you were a kid, or maybe you were a little bit older, when like a lamp gets turned on and you're like, "Oh, it can't possibly be that hot," and you touch the light bulb. Imagine
Yeah.
sliding down like what, he was 3 stories up down a pole like 30 feet in
I
the
feel like
air.
that's more than
He
fucking
was like
3
I think it was like
stories.
3 or 4 stories.
Yeah, and then landing on like fucking
Nothing.
like cement tile.
He lands on wood, cement tile. There's no mats. Yeah, nothing to cushion his fall.
God.
He was just extremely lucky because if he was acting like a normal person when grabbing a fucking extremely hot pole, the normal person would just let go and
Well,
die.
that was the thing that was talked about, was that it literally says normal people, any animal whatsoever would have like just stopped touching it, would have let go
Yeah.
by instinct.
Just instinct. Yeah.
But he clung on the entire way down.
Yeah, now
So,
I
like,
see why they show it at 3 different angles in that movie.
Yeah, he's like, check this shit out. I've got fucked up.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not doing this again.
Yeah, they're like, I could just imagine the final cut of the movie. He's like, "Oh, you only put the pole sliding in once?" And they're like, "Yeah, you only did it once." He's like, "I don't give a fuck."
Well,
3 angles, 3
well, I will
times.
say though, they have been filming in that mall because that's a legit mall. They've been
Yeah.
filming in that mall for like months, and the mall was like, "Okay, you gotta start wrapping this up. We can't have you doing this." And so the last time that they were there was this scene where he's shooting down. That was the last time they were there because that was it. Like literally, as soon as they got done, the sun was fucking rising and the mall was about to open. So they had to they had to get him, treated, and then they had to, do all that stuff and be out of there because like the time issue was was legit. So that was, I thought that was funny too. Yeah, and then there was so much sugar glass used that there was a lot of injuries from that, but also too all the crew nicknamed the film Glass Story because so much glass was broken.
I can see that.
Fuck.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, there was a
And-
scene in the mall where they were just like breaking every single display case. It
there
was
was
fucking funny.
one of a very famous scene was when one of the stuntmen was fighting Jackie, and then Jackie got on a motorcycle and drove him through a whole just wall after wall after wall of glass. That's a very notable. There's a lot of
Yeah.
notable fight scenes. We will probably name them to you, but that was just one of them. And then another one was the bus stop scene. That was actually an accident. So what was interesting about that is that 3 stuntmen who flew out of the front window, they were actually supposed to land on the car, but they landed on the road instead.
Owie.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
But they kept it, and it was so funny because Jackie Chan was talking about that stunt. What he wanted was he wanted them to obviously land on the car, but because buses have air brakes, the air brakes messed up the timing. So he said that he just sees these guys fly out the window, and he's like waiting for like a bump or like a crash on the car, but all he hears is 3 bodies just flop on the ground and then just agony. That's what he hears.
God.
Jeesh.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's something else. I want to draw a lot of comparisons to John Wick, just because that's like the big action movie of the moment, right? Well, I mean that Mission Impossible, but I haven't seen the new Mission Impossible yet. We'll see it by the time this comes out, but we haven't seen it yet because it's not out. But like you can feel the pain that like these real people are going in through the movies. Like obviously, if not the actors themselves, then like these stunt performers. And
Yeah.
with Jackie Chan, he is doing his own stunts, and all of like these henchmen and stuff, they're not actors, they're just also stuntmen. Because I mean, there's really not a whole lot of dialogue in this movie outside of like Jackie Chan and like
His co-stars.
Like the characters that aren't fighting. But
Yeah.
for the most part, every henchman in this movie is just like a stunt man, like that gets bulldozed over. And you can feel the pain, like even just like the simple, like, all right, I'm going to grab your arm and I'm going to like fucking judo throw you over me and you're going to land on the road. Like there's no faking that. Like it's very professional wrestling in that sense, where I'm like, yeah, professional wrestling is fake, but like some of the shit they do, hurts like a motherfucker. And this is it. Like, in this movie, they're not actually beating the shit out of each other. But like when you see like what some of these guys are going through, even you're like, oh, well, that's just sugar glass. And Wenzel said, you can get cut by sugar glass pretty easily. It's still sharp.
What people don't realize is that sugar glass is thicker than regular glass.
Yeah.
So even though it's quote safer unquote, it will still bruise and cut you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, it's still glass. It's just glass. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, it's still like very lethal stuff, and it's just super funny how I don't know. I see a lot of parallels just as much wrestling as I watch, and like watching these movies, especially this one. It's just like, man, like, I mean, because there was times all 3 of us like collectively went like, oh shit, like just that hurt, like, because we did this and Legend of the Drunken Master like a double feature last night, and there's just stuff in both of these movies, but a lot in this one where you're just like, that had to suck.
Yeah.
And then to find out that this movie only cost $2 million, like on top of all that, is like, I could not imagine. I don't think you could get a movie like this, even with today's equivalent of $2 million. I don't know. Like, for reference, I want to look up what like John Wick 4 cost.
It had to have cost a lot.
Yeah.
John Wick 4 cost $100 million.
Wow.
And this $2 million budget is roughly $8 million today.
So like you're talking, and like, again, they did a set piece where they destroyed a whole like hillside slum area in the opening minutes of the movie, destroyed multiple cars.
Yep.
There were explosions as well.
I mean, like, truly, I think I said, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen something like that outside of like, with like the amount of cars blowing up and like just it's like, when I see shit like that, I think of Fast and Furious. I've also recently watched Too Fast, Too Furious, but I was thinking Fast and Furious. I'm like, and they're doing this shit in the mid 80s. Like, I don't know. It's so ahead of its time in that way.
It is. It's all practical. I mean, in the documentary where Jackie Chan is talking about his stunts, there's always he talks about how like, well, why don't you use more like special effects, or especially during the time, or like eventually they're going to get into like blue screens and green screens and stuff, like, well, why don't you use that? And he just says, for one thing, he says, okay, well, practical effects are actually cheaper. and
Yeah.
another thing too is that they're just it's kind of crazy, but he's like, they just don't like push the same kind of atmosphere that practical effects do.
Yeah, I
And
feel like they would be easier to do, honestly.
they're
e-
interesting.
I mean, easier to do in the sense of like you as a person being like, okay, flip over this table, versus them being like, all right, instead of that, we're gonna like computer generate like a CG image of you flipping over this table. Like in that sense, it's easier. But as far as like the physical toll it can take on your body,
Yeah.
like I mean, obviously, but two, just knowing what kind of like auteur Jackie Chan is, it probably boils down to like it doesn't look real.
That
With
exactly that.
with the CG. He's like, it doesn't, like, why would I do something that didn't look real for the movies he's doing? Like, it just doesn't make sense. He's like, if anybody can be in this movie, if I was to have all these like especially like turn of the century, all these CG effects, but even like the special effects from like he would have done in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Because it's not like this is Jackie Chan's first like breakout role. Like, yes, this movie was huge, but like Jackie Chan had been acting at this point in this movie for almost 20 years. He's been in the industry for almost 2 decades at this point, and like has been fight has done fight choreography for like John Woo. So it's not like he's like this little not known guy. It's just super funny that he's just like, he's like, you know what? I've been in the industry for this long. This is how we're doing it. And he has his stunt group, pretty much a group of pretty much Jackie Chan's stunt team is original Jackass.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So when I was looking up reviews about it, literally so many people were just making jokes like, I'm Jackie Chan, welcome to Jackass.
I mean, really,
literally this.
If Jackie Chan was born 15 years later and in America, instead of being this a worldwide renowned action movie star, he would have been Jackass.
He would have started Jackass.
He would have started Jackass.
I agree, because that's basically what this is.
That's literally his shit. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, really, when you think about it, is there a huge difference between Jackie Chan and Johnny Knoxville? I can't think of many.
And if Johnny Knoxville was born like 20 years earlier in Hong Kong,
he would be Jackie Chan, but he'd be Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, honestly, too, I don't even think there's that big of an age gap between them, because Jackie Chan's 69. Okay, never mind. Johnny Knoxville's only 52.
That's totally not the case, because Jackie Chan moves like fucking crazy, and Johnny Knoxville, I don't think he moves that crazy.
But going back to Colt's point earlier, though, it's also, easier, and it is easier just to do it themselves, because, getting all that special effects, you have to send that to somebody else or a different company and stuff. And I mean, when you think about it too, like before the onset of more, special effects, blue screen, green screen, everybody will probably say this about films during the 20th century is ingenuity. The techniques and everything they're coming up with and doing to pull off practical effects is insanely cool. And it's smart. Like, I mean, real, that's like something he said. It's like not only does it look good, but it's cheap. That's what he says in his documentary about it. So for instance, one of the things they do for obviously when you hit somebody with like a stool or a chair, it won't break immediately if it's wooden, right? So what they do beforehand is they cut up the pieces of the chair and they put it back together with a little bit of glue, but they add string to it. So they tie the pieces of the chair to string so that whenever they do, quote, smash the chair, unquote, it's literally just the actor holding the chair, and when they hit it, he basically rips it apart because the string is in his hands. the strings are tied to his hands.
Oh.
And
See?
it flies, quote unquote. So literally he would hit the chair and then pull the chair apart and the pieces go everywhere. And then they have the right camera angle so that you don't see the string, and bam, broken chair.
I'd like to see that in action. Do you see that in the documentary?
Yes, you do.
Oh,
He
I wanna
shows
see
you.
that.
It's a very cool, and what they do too. You think like, man, look at all these hits are hard. There's all this dust everywhere. They literally layer everything before they use it with baby powder
Fuck yeah.
to make the effect of like, oh
Like
man, he just got dust, skin just flying off. And when they do kicks, they put on a special shoe, and they'll put baby powder in the shoe, and then they'll kick a guy in the head, right? And it'll be like so these stuntmen, they are very much actors too, because they do know how to pull off agonizing looks. So he kicked, quote unquote, a guy in the head with this special shoe on, and the guy's like, but then he switches back to just, normal, because he kicked him in the head, but it doesn't hurt. It's a special type of shoe to like reduce the impact of the kick.
Oh, so it's like a I don't want to say a rubber shoe, because obviously a rubber shoe.
It's like a rubber. It's kind of like a rubber shoe. It's like a clog, kind of. Yeah. So that was interesting too. Now, but back to Police Story 2 is Police Story. All like you said, it's like, okay, they're doing all these stunts. They definitely look like they're hurt. Yes, all the hits and kicks are real. They are legitimately hitting and kicking each other. But again, they put on special stuff, special pads and stuff to reduce the impact. And now the scene in the mall where they're fighting on the escalators, and that one guy gets stuck between the two escalators. I don't know if you guys remember that. He slid down there. There's nothing really special about that, but that was Jackie Chan's obviously specific idea, and I was like, oh well.
I just didn't know how you get out of that. That seems like
that was my thing. I'm like, oh well, that guy's just stuck there forever.
Jackie Chan talked about that. He's like, yeah, we got to have a guy go through here in the middle, and they pulled it off. And I was like, oh, that's a cool scene. But no, so when they have a guy fall down the escalators, they make sure to have them fall down only on the escalator that's going down. And what they do is they put on these special, they're like, it's basically like it's not armor, but it's like pads, but like they're kind of like ruler. I think he said they're like ruler shaped or something, so that when they fall down the escalator, the impact is also lessened. So they're like legitimately falling down the escalator.
Yeah. There's only so much you can make that not hurt outside of being just fully encased in rubber. Like, I'm sure they're wearing padding and stuff, like in protective gear. Also, another thing to think about is that it was the mid 80s.
Yeah.
So like what passed for PPE in 1985 in Hong Kong? Like, it probably wasn't like insanely safe still.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then like the way he does his choreography and his acting and his stunts too, is he talks about how he doesn't really criticize, but he kind of brings American stuff into example. So like American fighting is like Colt said, it's like big bruiser kind of guys boxing. And he even replicates it where he's like, he just kind of like stands like tall, and he's like, like kind of running at you. And he's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. So what we do is that what's important about doing these type of films and action films is toes, placement of your feet. Like if you do a wide shot and you can see your feet, you have to make sure what kind of stance where your toes are at to give better flow of energy and feeling of how you're depicting yourself, rather than being just kind of a big scary monster, pretty much. And like switching that up and doing that really helps affect how the scene is depicted, and how you look to the audience too. I thought that was like a simple kind of, that kind of, I mean, that makes fucking sense. And
because even with this film, we're still like over a decade away from like really MMA blowing up in the West. And I don't know about the commercial success about this movie in the West, in whenever, but two, like just nobody else was fighting like that. Like every other major like contact sport in the world was like fist based. Like, I mean, boxing's the huge example, but like kickboxing has still never really even been big in America. And then like, that's pretty much all you had.
Yeah. No, and what made Jackie Chan especially unique at the time and still unique even to this fucking day with all of his movies is that whenever he's fighting, again, it's very physical. It's like slapstick, and there's always a flair to it. He even talks about how he's like, I don't want to dance. I don't want to just fight. I want to dance. I want it to be like dancing, because him and one of his stars in another film both went to the same like Chinese opera school, and that's where they kind of bring all of their experience and stuff from, was what they learned there. And the usage of weapons too, of like whenever they're given a weapon, they won't they might hit each other, but like it's always like they're not really hitting each other. Rather than, the whole idea is like they'll disarm, or they'll hit the weapon, but they'll always do it with like kind of a style, a flair of like, oh, you don't just want to hold it, you want to, twist it, twirl it, flip it, like all this stuff. And he does that, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's unique to him.
Yeah, like we don't it's not so much in Police Story as it is in Drunken Master, because there's a whole fight scene where he just has like a huge fucking stick of bamboo. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
A huge stick of bamboo in Drunken Master. I mean, literally, it's twirling around him the whole time. But yeah, it's so insane how a human being, like I said this, like it doesn't register in my brain how a person can move like this. Like it looks fake.
It does.
What he's doing, like when some of the shit he does, and like how his body can twist and contort, but like still come off as like just this 5'9" war machine. Like it doesn't properly, like, just, it doesn't make sense in my brain how he does it. And then you add into the fact, like, he occasionally will be like, oh, I have 2 stools, and now these are my weapons. And like, it looks real. Like, it looks like somebody actually do it. Like, it blows my mind how, like, that, like, it doesn't even make sense to me how that can be, like, choreographed, but like but it's like a real person doing it. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, my favorite weapon that he used in Police Story was easily the clothes rack. It was pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
Well, now that brings me to another question for you guys. What would you guys say your favorite, I'll say, fight scenes, and then I'll say scenes, because there are definitely just regular scenes, but those regular scenes are just include his physicality and his acting together, and then there's the fight scene, which is he actually fighting. So I want to know, guys, what's your favorite fight scene?
Fuck, like, I feel like it has to be
the mall scene, right? I mean,
yeah, the mall scene is just the
mall scene is what everybody says, because it's one of the best scenes, one of the best fight scenes.
I mean, just from a practical level, like, it's practically impressive, but also too, like,
it was massive. Everybody was fighting. It felt like,
and
it's like they're fighting Jackie Chan.
A whole
mall,
15-minute set piece of them fighting. But I will say, I'll give you an answer here. My favorite scene in the movie is probably not even a fight scene. It's when he is in the police headquarters and he's answering all the phones.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
It's so insanely, it literally feels like a fucking, like, Three Stooges bit. And he's just like answering all these phone calls, and he keeps answering the wrong questions to the wrong person. He's also trying to eat lunch, and like he ends up eating an eraser, and then another phone rings, and he's choking. I mean, it's genuinely hilarious.
Yeah, it fucking ate plain ass noodles, no seasoning of whatsoever, and some erasers.
That was the seasoning, the eraser.
Yeah. Also, it's super funny to me. This shows what kind of like perfectionist Jackie Chan is. He like kicks a pencil in the air and catches it while he's talking on the phone. And it shows during the behind the scenes of him like practicing and doing it. I would love to know how many takes it took him to like
kick
flip the pencil into his hand.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
I'd like an extensive like police story 0.5, like how Jackass does with 1.5 or 2.5. Just
Yeah.
for all his movies, because I just want to see all the fucking bloopers and shit.
Yeah, like I would really be interested, especially for this movie, like just to see what's going on. What's the story?
It's a police story.
Oh, besides the police, what's the story?
Yeah, no, that police headquarters scene where he's answering all the phones, that killed me. That was so funny. And him eating the noodles with 2 pencils as chopsticks was insane. And definitely he is definitely a perfectionist, because like Tanner said, there's bloopers, and he even talks about like some of the stuff in documentary where like there's even a part where it's like kind of fast forwarded, where it's just him. They're constantly they're practicing this one scene that's not even, I don't even think it's used for a movie. I think it's just used for the documentary, where they do it over and over and over and over again until finally he gets it fucking perfect. But the thing is like at the very end of it, when they finally finish it, he is out of breath. And I'm like, dude, like, how many times did you fucking do this? Because Jesus Christ, it's literally him like picking I think it's like him kicking up it's a prop, but it's like a vase, and it's very light, of course, because he has to kick it, but it's him basically kicking it up in the air and then kicking it with the back of his leg to basically go into a direction to where he headshots somebody with it. And he does it so many times, and I'm like, I would be dead. I'd be throwing up. Like, I can't do that. So much work.
And like, too, you have to imagine he has like some of the best cardio on the planet. So like when you see like him like out of breath, like exhausted, you're just like, oh, he obviously had to do that like 15,000 times. That's the only, because he is a fucking just cardiovascular machine.
Yeah. And I will say too, in that documentary, that was he was like 41 in there. Dude still looked fucking great. And there was actually a part in there where he wore like tights. I mean, god damn, the guy's thighs. Like, oh my god.
Dude is in shape. I mean, yeah, I'm like, it's not a hot take or anything. Like,
no, it's not.
Shocking that.
And he was wearing like what is it? They use it for like those aerobic classes or in the 80s.
A leotard?
No, not a leotard. Ankle weights or whatever. He was wearing ankle weights in these tights.
Yeah,
like,
some fucking Rock Lee shit. He probably has to put like 1,000-pound weight on his legs to slow it down so the human eye can even fucking
shit. Rock Lee is just based on Jackie Chan's characters. He's got the drunken fighting and he's got the fucking leg weights.
I mean, I'm sure this is, but Rock Lee is very clearly based off of Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee.
Very clearly.
Yeah.
Very clearly.
Especially with that hair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Rock Lee has the fucking haircut of Jackie Chan, and yeah. Wow.
If I had to pick a favorite scene for myself,
please.
I've got 2. One's an honorable mention, and one's my real favorite. The honorable mention is something like I just can't get out of my head just because how funny it was. Is the one where he just does a moonwalk after stepping in cow poop.
Oh, I forgot about that scene.
Yeah. That's so good because it makes it does not even remotely relate to anything else in the movie.
I forgot about that.
It's so unnecessary, but I'm super glad that he just did it for the bit.
He just did it. He steps in what was it, cow shit, and to wipe it off, he dances. It's like so brief. It was like probably what, like 20 or 30 seconds long.
Yeah. And here's what's crazy. So I just looked this up. So this film came out in 1985. We have to assume a lot of the filming was done in 1984, 1985, correct?
Yeah.
Just look this up. Michael Jackson did the moonwalk for the first time in 1983, performing his hit song Billie Jean on a TV special Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, and Forever. So the moonwalk wasn't even a thing until 83. And then here's Jackie Chan all the way in Hong Kong was like, I have to do this in my film. Just like less than 2 years later, and he does it in fucking Converse with cow shit on them.
That's pretty epic.
That's pretty epic.
I don't know. That's fucking crazy.
It is. That is crazy.
And for my favorite scene, it's not really a big surprise. It's easily the specifically when the little shanty town's getting blown the fuck up as cars blast through it. Because when that scene happened, I realized that this movie is gonna fucking rule.
Yeah. Colt caught on real quick.
Yeah,
that shantytown scene was crazy. It's literally just Jackie Chan in a car, villains in a car, and they're just driving through on the top of a hill through this little town.
a guy pisses himself.
Yeah. Oh my god,
that was really fucking funny.
Yeah, there's one of the cops is so fucking scared. He shoots somebody and then legitimately pisses himself. We just started laughing because he shoots the guy and then he pisses himself after. Like, oh my god!
And then he sweats profusely.
Yeah, sweats a ton. And then at one point, he's just like behind a corner and he's just blindly shooting his gun around the corner. And like Jackie Chan comes around and he takes his gun. Is like, yeah, somebody needs to take his gun. And then he just reloads the gun for him. It's like, here you go. And it's like, this guy does not need any more bullets.
No, he needs to be taken off this operation.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's there, but yeah. So like, there's the good scenes. I agree. There's not really a bad scene in this movie.
No.
No. This movie is a legitimate like masterpiece.
Absolutely.
I'll die on that hill.
Oh my god, there's so much to it, and so like to kind of give you to give you kind of like idea, there's like some of my favorite scenes. Definitely the shanty town, definitely the mall fight scene. It's so big. Definitely the police headquarters, the moonwalk scene. Whenever Jackie Chan gets to the fucking before that, Jackie Chan goes to save the witness he's protecting, but it turns out the guy attacking her is also the cops. So they're kind of pretending just so that they can kind of get her closer to his side, and she ends up actually knocking the cop out, and he has to still pretend he's fighting him. I thought that was a fun scene. The scenes too where he keeps getting hit in the face with cake, I thought that was good as well.
Yeah, that was really good too.
And then the fight scene too, where he is driving back to his place with the woman, and he thinks he hits a fucking baby in a stroller.
Yeah,
that was good.
And he ends up having the fight. Now, in that fight scene with the goons after that happens, there's a really cool scene where he's in between two cars and he he uses both of his legs to kick a guy and kick himself into a car. Smooth ass scene. That was like probably one of the coolest just little moves. One of the coolest moves. Smoothest moves. If anybody remembers that, go look up that fight scene in general if you want to remember that. But it's very cool. Yeah,
I would say, just for some reason, if you have never watched this movie, do not just go searching up fight scenes. This movie needs to be seen as a complete package.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
obviously, if you've seen the movie before and you're like, oh, yeah, I want to, go look it up, whatever. But you need to sit down for the hour and 40-minute runtime of this movie. It's on multiple streaming services. I'm sure you can probably rent it. And the Criterion is 50% off, and you get Police Story 1 and 2 in a complete package. You just need to watch the film as a complete package. Because, like, yes, the individual fights do rule, but as a complete movie, it's, like, unparalleled. Now, as well as, like, all of, like, just the extra stuff in the movie, like, besides the fights, like, it being, like, genuinely hilarious. Like, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch the whole thing. Sorry.
Yeah, you gotta.
I gotta. Now that makes me kind of curious though. Like the story, I would say maybe I'm wrong, but the story is very obviously secondary to the film. What do we think about that? And what do we think how this film like rather than being about this police story, what do we think about it being more formed by the stunts, the performances, the the physicality, the comedy, everything about that. What do we think about that being formed around this film rather than the story itself? Like, how do we feel about that? Because that kind of shapes itself into a different film like really sets itself apart, and that's why I believe from that is what makes it a masterpiece. But what do you guys think?
I'm completely okay with that because not
Yeah.
every movie needs to have a good story to be good. As long as the actors and like the stuff that's happening with like if it has like supplements to the story within action or just cool shit to look at, that stuff can elevate a movie even more, even if the story fucking sucks.
Yeah, and this movie, the plot itself is a very like cut and dry plot. But I think what puts it over the top, first of all, it's incredibly acted. The action sequences, again, we have went on for like an hour about why we love those. The physical humor in it, and just like you can tell everybody in the movie just I don't know, it's like everybody in the movie was on. Like the plot itself is like your basic episode of fucking CSI or Law and Order or what the fuck ever. But like you add in like all-time level action stars doing what they do best again in like the prime or what should have been the prime of their life doing crazy shit. I mean, like it's second to none. And I don't think the plot is. I know neither of y'all were saying this. I don't think the plot's bad. I think it's a good plot, if not a little basic, especially looking at it through 2023 lenses. But it's not like the plot is bad or
Yeah,
anything. It's just it's a little straightforward. But
yeah,
with everything else in the movie, it's elevated into, like Wenzel said, I mean, it's a fucking masterpiece.
yeah. I agree with both of you. So like Colt says, because this is something I was talking to Colt about, that this film sticking to me the way it did is I'm usually I don't care, like Colt says as well, I don't really care sometimes if a film doesn't have a good story, if it's not, or if someone doesn't really have a story, it's not really about the story, that's fine. Characters, everything else in it can help lead it or whatever. That's fine. But this really redefined how I know this is gonna sound crazy because I've seen so many films now, especially films with not really good stories or not necessarily stories or all right stories. But this redefines how I think how I view and my requisites for films that I love and cherish, because it it's not a bad story. It's just basic. But the thing is that everything else that went into this film is what forms Police Story. Is what makes it a masterpiece. What elevates it into a high form of art is because of Jackie Chan, his stunt group, and everybody's efforts and work into it, and making this just bombastic, funny ass action movie.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about like the alien movies that are considered bad. Not just Alien, the Terminators, like all these movies that are considered bad, and the Scream ones as well. I just had a lot of fun because I could see the heart and like just the passion that went into making it. And
Yeah.
if you don't have that and you're making it like a movie with a good story, if you don't have that passion in it, you're not gonna have the best movie.
Yeah, I mean, and two, I think Wenzel, going saying like, oh, this movie has kind of changed what I view as a great movie. I think that's totally valid because it's not like there is a checklist of things a movie has to do to be great, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So just three off the cuff, three of my favorite movies ever: Boogie Nights, My Neighbor Totoro, Jackass Number 2. Those three movies are not in any shape or fucking form similar in any
Similar. Yeah.
fucking way. In any way. And I consider them all legitimate masterpieces in their own respective way. So I think, and I guess it happens too as you get older. Like obviously, I would like to think even from the time we started AYCH to now, our taste is a lot more. I don't want to say refined because that sounds snobby, but like we kind of know what we're looking for at this point. Like we
Yeah. Oh
are
yeah.
better critics, better reviewers, better consumers now.
Honestly, I feel like my taste has loosened up a lot since I've gotten older.
Yeah, but
I
like
used to be more snobby.
I would say,
maybe-
everybody.
yeah, but loosened, but like loosened up. Not to say like, oh man, I just love eating fucking pig slop. I just take me to the fucking trough and feed me some fucking mud. Like, no, that's not what we're saying. It's just we have gotten better at like we know what we want at like as we're watching stuff now, and even it goes to other mediums, but besides film, I mean, fucking television, anime, music, art, everything, video games, and we kind of know what we're looking for, and occasionally there is that like something that maybe is bad, traditionally bad, that one or multiple of us really resonate with for whatever reason, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
But it definitely, I think, like, especially like I know the unhealthier parts of movie Twitter. I'm not a part of it. I don't see it, because I've curated my timeline enough. But there are parts of film Twitter that think like, oh, if a movie doesn't have this, this, and this, it can't be a classic. It can't be a good thing. And that's just not fucking true.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, it's completely subjective towards viewers, in one sense. But I will say, if you can watch a movie like Police Story and not come away completely blown away, I think you were watching movies wrong.
Yeah.
I sincerely mean that. You can think it's a bad movie, whatever, because that's completely subjective. But if you come away from this movie and not think that is visually impressive, and what they did in this movie 40 years ago is just mind blowing, you don't interact with the medium in the right way. This is the only way around it. Like, objectively, like, it is not up for debate. This movie is fucking an impressive, I've said set piece so many times, but it is an impressive set piece. Like,
it is.
Like, you just can't watch it without being in awe. So if you come away from this movie and think anything less than like, that was really fucking cool, I don't understand what you're looking for in movies. I truly don't. So yeah,
I agree. It's an incredible, like, I mean, you have a bunch of guys who, like, I mean, they're not super old, but they're fairly well known in the industry now. But like, this really cements them as like, these guys know what they're fucking doing. They're professionals, and goddamn, they put a lot of work into making a fantastic fucking movie. So much practicality in it. I mean, hell, even Jackie Chan's co-star, the woman that he has to protect in the film, she even does most of her own stunts, which I think is really cool. But it's funny too. There was actually a bit in here where she got so scared from doing her first stunt that she fainted, and they literally woke her up, and they're like, "Hey, you got to do it." So and I mean even like, Hong Kong even agrees. This film won the 1986 Hong Kong Film Award for best picture, best film. So like that, like, and this is actually Jackie Chan's only film to win Hong Kong Academy Best Picture Award. So that's pretty crazy too. Yeah, it's just it's so incredible. And fun fact too about the title, it's like Police Story. It's like, that's such a plain name. And the reason why they named it that was because in Jackie Chan stated that filmmakers would always try to copy him for films. So he tried to keep it basic. And then an example of this, even though this comes out later, is The Legend of the Drunken Master. After that was made, filmmakers started making a bunch of films about drunken boxing. So at the time when he was making Police Story, he's like, let's just call it Police Story because it's so fucking vague. Filmmakers will just think, well, it's about police, but what does that mean? What does that mean? What's going on?
Yeah. Like, and to a point, you can copy it. Like, even you can make a film about drunken boxing, but if you don't have fucking Jackie Chan, like, you're missing Chan, like
you're missing
the element,
which makes me think, I'm like, Police Story, if it was done by anybody else, it would not be the masterpiece that it was.
It'd be like
Yeah.
making apple pie without apples. It doesn't make fucking sense.
Exactly. That literally, it would not be this way without him. And
Yeah.
I that just goes to show, like, this fucker is incredible. He's an auteur, and it's insane. This man is crazy. He's crazy.
I mean, Connection, I mean, it's very much kind of like Tom Cruise. You know, Tom Cruise does his own stunts, kind of like this world-renowned action star. And like, yeah, they could probably make another Top Gun. And yeah, they can probably continue making Mission Impossibles. But if you don't have fucking Tom Cruise in them, like, what's the fucking point? You know?
Yeah.
Like, he kind of makes those movies. And, you know, here with Jackie Chan, I know there's police stories without Jackie Chan in them, you know,
like 2 of them.
Yeah, so like whatever, like that's not really what I'm talking about, but like, you know, you're missing the X factor. My cooking analogy is probably better. It'd be like trying to make a cake without eggs. Like, it just it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And then also, like, this movie has been paid homage to in a lot of other films, and movies like Tango and Cash, that's from 1989. That's a buddy cop film. There's a scene where they also replicate, or they pay homage to the bus stop scene from the very beginning of the film. And then in Rapid Fire from 1992, the mall fight scene with the clothes rail and the motorcycle, that was recreated in there, or paid homage to. And then Bad Boys 2 from 2003 also pays homage to the shantytown chase scene, which makes me really curious because I've never seen Bad Boys, and I'm like, well, shit, what they recreate? Did they recreate like a crazy ass scene where they're just?
I haven't seen it in about 15 years, but 12-year-old Tanner fucking loved Bad Boys 2. So
hell yeah,
I'm sure it probably would kick ass for 27, almost 28-year-old Tanner as well.
Yeah, man, yeah, this love this film. What was everybody's rating?
5. It's
Yeah,
5 all
I mean,
across the board.
Yeah, it's a full 5, 10 out of 10.
Full 5. Yeah.
I mean, I've said it already, but like, if I was to make a list of my 100 favorite movies of all time, like Police Story, I mean, it's not number 1, but Police Story is like will make a hell of a debut on that list.
Yeah, same.
So
I would have to put that list together. I know Police Story would have a place in there though for me.
Yeah, I mean, it is phenomenal. If you've never seen it, highly suggest watching it. There was a trend going. It'd be a couple weeks old at this point when you're listening to this, but a tweet was going around on Twitter today. It was like, oh, like, tweet all your movies you've given 5 stars to this year, and I've only given 7 movies 5 stars this year, which I felt like it was more of a Police Story, obviously being one of those. And somebody tweeted at me and it was like, "Oh, that's too low for Police Story." And I agree. If I could have given Police Story 6 stars, I would have.
Yes.
Yeah, same.
Like,
Letterboxd should enable an ability to rate a movie above 5 stars, but only like 10 movies per account, and you can change which movie you rate 6 stars. But you can just choose those movies to give a 6 star.
So to me, this is how I think of Letterboxd, because Letterboxd, the wrestling fan in me, I'm like, God, I wish Letterboxd had quarter ratings because it just makes things easier. But I use the like feature on Letterboxd as like my, like, for instance, I gave Police Story 5 stars and I liked it, I hearted it. That's like me giving Police Story 5 stars plus.
Yeah,
like, that's how I use the like feature on Letterboxd. Like, because there's some 3-star movies I have liked 3-star plus.
That makes sense.
I just like movies that I enjoy, and like, if I give I've given movies like 4 stars, and I didn't like them, but I did know they were good.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I've given movies, like, if I have a 4-star movie liked on Letterboxd and a 4-star movie not liked on Letterboxd, I like the 4-star movie that I've hearted more than the movie that's not hearted. Not to say they're both not great movies. I just, for my OCD and like ranking purposes, a 4-star heart would be above a 4-star non-heart.
That Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've
But
always,
a 4-star heart would be below a 4.5 no heart. I know.
no. Oh, okay. I know. I kind of see what you're saying, and that makes a little bit of sense. I always, if I like the movie, even if it's 3 stars, I always put a heart by it. I think I might have one movie that's 2.5 that I put a heart by it because
Mhm.
I actually enjoyed it. Because it was still so fucking bad. But I mean, yeah, like because there's some movies like I'll give it 3 stars, but I won't heart it because while I do recognize some of the stuff about it, I just didn't like it. So I never thought about it like that though. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a nice way to do it, honestly.
Yeah, I was actually going to see. So I have one 3-star thing on Letterbox hearted, and I have one 3.5 star Letterbox thing hearted, and everything else is 4, 4.5, or 5.
Nice. Um. Oh shit! Drop my fucking phone. Hold on. Um. Oh my god. Also too, before I forget, the bus scene whenever he's hanging off the umbrella, he's so to do that, his umbrella is a metal umbrella. So that's how he's hanging off,
Yeah,
by
and
the
he
way.
definitely had something hooked to his hand so he could fucking grip it still. He had
Um,
to.
I don't know about that because he didn't necessarily recreate it, but in the stunt documentary that he shows, he's actually hanging off um so this is 1999. He's actually hanging off the side of the bus that he's in with the metal umbrella that he would have used.
Oh.
And it's just him hanging with it. So kind of that stunt was very dangerous as well. Just gonna say that. And now he couldn't do it for as long because he got back up on the bus. But yeah, and then he even shows like a regular wooden umbrella. They look exactly the same, but let's say if there was a mistake made where he gets the wooden umbrella instead of the metal umbrella, then he would have fucking fallen. But yeah, does I don't really have anything else to say. I love this fucking movie.
I mean, we've said a lot, so
Yeah, I think we've said everything about the movie that can be said outside of a scene by scene breakdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, if you've never seen this movie or if it's been years since you've seen it, you need to watch it. Especially if you've seen this movie but you've never seen like the 4K restoration, whatever. Like
Watch
it is
it.
The 4K
very
restoration.
much.
I don't think we
worth
put
it.
enough emphasis on that either. Is the 4K restoration?
Yeah.
It is a crisp ass film. Like
Yeah.
I'm not when it first popped up, we were all like, "Holy shit! This looked like it was made today." But even
Yeah.
then, it looks better than several films from today.
Yeah. And again, a lot of that too lends to the fact that it's all practical effects.
Jesus Christ!
Like-
Yep.
Police Story in 1985 looks more modern than The Flash from
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
year.
Also, like 30 something minutes into the movie, like y'all told me that there's more than one police story, and I was like, what? And I immediately got on Letterboxd and saw that were 7 police story movies total. And I got so fucking excited because
Yeah,
I
I
want to
didn't-
watch every single one of them now.
We should honestly, don't hold us to this, but we should just review all the police stories.
Yes.
Be them non-canon or the police story files. I don't know how the spinoff to a spinoff would work. But we
Yeah.
should do it
15.
because I would very much be amped up to watch because the police stories with
Oh, you cut out.
Tanner cut out.
Tanner
sorry.
can't hang with the big dogs.
I guess not.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I think I just got too loud. But the police stories without Jackie Chan, or even some with Jackie Chan, also co-star Michelle Yeoh.
Yep.
So
Which is
from
a fucking poggers.
yeah, so
Poggers.
I not saying when, not saying where, but a police story files may be in the future.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. I agree with that. We at least definitely need to watch Police Story 2.
Yeah,
And 3 and 4 and 5 and Probably not 6, but 7 as well.
Okay, there's no way we would watch all of them but one.
6 is the one that's like reviewed pretty badly.
That's
we gotta
fine.
watch. We gotta watch it though. We gotta see what's going on.
We will.
I mean, when we did Star Wars Files, we still watched episode 2
And 1. Yeah, you're
and
right.
1.
Yeah.
Although I stand firm that Phantom Menace is kind of fun.
No. I mean, they're all kind of fun, but they're still not good.
I don't know. I think Attack of the Clones is actively bad the whole time.
No, the fucking ending stuff with Yoda flipping, that shit was fun.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, that's from more Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, you get it. Fun sounds. Oh, bless you.
Thanks. I tried to get away from the mic.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, any last words on Police Story before we wrap this up?
Jackie Chan, why did you have to be homophobic?
Yeah. Obviously, like, even though we've sung this film's praises and Jackie Chan's praises, Jackie Chan obviously is kind of is very problematic, especially his certain views. It's like but that's for somebody else to talk about.
Yeah, not a great person, but hell of an action star.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, can you separate art from artists? It's, no. No. We're not looking to get that deep.
So another final thought. Jackie Chan was a porn star for a little bit.
Oh fuck! Can you see his willy?
So when would he have been a porn star?
Let me see. The film, I think he was only in 2, I believe. Not like a huge porn star, but he was well, yeah, he's a porn star. But one of them came out in 1975. The name of it was All in the Family.
Oh.
Fuck.
What does that mean?
What do you think it means?
In the mid 70s in Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's
Hong Kong
seems weirdly progressive.
Adult comedy All in the Family. There's only 2 sex scenes in that film, and he was only in one of them.
Wait, so is it an actual porno or just a movie with 2 sex scenes?
It's looking like a movie with 2 sex scenes because I cannot find his penis.
I will say it says. So what's interesting is that it's considered porn. It is considered porn. But
would it be considered porn in America?
Yeah, like could it be just considered porn for the time frame?
Well, that's the thing is that right now, like what I'm looking at right now is like it could. I would say probably it was. See, I don't know. It says porn movie. It's considered a porn movie. It could be considered a porn movie for the time. Yeah. It's also funny too because this article I'm looking at says only Jackie Chan film where he wasn't involved in a single fight or stunt sequence.
Yeah, so
I mean it's kind of a fight.
Shouldn't be.
So Jackie Chan.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, this was a little bit of a unknown thing till about 2006. It looks like, and his response was, "I had to do anything I could to make a living 31 years ago." This article is from 2006. I can make a living 31 years ago, but I don't think it's a big deal. Even Marlon Brando used to be exposed in his movies, Chan said. The porn movie at that time was more conservative than today's current films.
Yeah.
Which is probably true.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the same article because that's literally what I'm reading. Yeah. I think that's actually kind of a like yeah, the dude doesn't regret that at least. Like and no one should, obviously, if you did a porn film and you did what you had to do, and especially sex workers, like do what you got to do.
And also some people just like doing it.
Some people like doing it, that's fine. Nothing wrong.
Yeah, definitely nothing wrong or to be ashamed about. It is just kind of crazy. Like you can technically say, oh, his first big acting role was porn.
Now there is on this this might be a different. Yeah, I'm looking at a different article now. There actually is a photograph, but they blurred out his pee-pee.
Damn.
Yeah, but this photograph would contain his pee-pee though. So
okay.
So if you want to, You can see there's pictures out there of Jackie Chan with his pee-pee out.
I mean, he shows his whole ass in this movie.
Yeah,
he does show his whole ass. And him wearing that like jumpsuit is actually kind of an iconic look. I'll say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yep. All right, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, we've been police storied.
Y'all ready for me to get into some little pluggies?
Plug it up.
Yep, plug it up.
We're leaking.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to All You Can Hear. Again, at this point that you're listening to it, we've been like back on a regular schedule for the last couple weeks. But thank you, everybody, for your patience again. As we kind of had a little mini summer vacation, impromptu, trips and everything. But you know about that now, so I'm not going to get any further into it. But thank you for being patient with us. You can follow us on Twitter at AYCH Podcast. Let's see. You can listen to us because we're a podcast. SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, anything else that there's one RSS feed that's shutting down semi soon. I don't remember which one it is. But,
really?
Yeah, it's not like one of the bigger ones or anything, but
iTunes.
No.
If you're listening to us currently, probably not that one.
Yeah, probably not that one. But yeah, so just kind of, be up to date with your podcast listening apps. YouTube and Twitch, we'll get back into a rhythm with those in a little bit. So you can go ahead and follow both of those, AYCH Podcast. Go to AYCH Xtra, where instruction booklet, they're killing it. We got we're the video game jocks, they're the video game nerds, so it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Speaking of video game jocks, there's a like near 7-hour breakdown of like well over 100 games announced during like the not E3 time that you should go listen to. It's one of my favorite podcasts that we've done in a hot minute. I always love doing like the brain drain pods of like, yeah, we can talk for a third of a day. And we did.
Yeah, we did.
So yeah, go listen to that. Backlog Boys, follow Backlog Boys at Backlog Boys with a Z pod on Twitter. Trying to think if there's anything. No, I don't think so. Yeah, follow me on Twitter, Tanner1495.
My name is Colt. Follow me on Twitter, Colt D00. Follow me on Threads at Peanut Bubber Reborn.
Thank you for listening. Oh, sorry.
That's it.
Oh, thank you for listening. I'm Wenzel. You can follow me on Twitter at WenzelBooking. You can follow my art Instagram at World of Wenzy. You can follow my Bookstagram, Wenzel Banters. I am currently posting about my trip to Cebu, so if you want to see some cool pictures, go check that out. And now we'll be getting back to posting about books and movies and music and stuff. And Police Story, let's just say that might be a target for me. That's all I'm going to say, because I fucking loved it. And even though I've talked a lot about it here, I still want to talk about it more. So, but I couldn't think of anything else. So give me some time and I'll have more to probably talk about. And follow me on Threads at or World of Wenzy. It's just my art Instagram again, but it's on Threads. And my bio has a link tree for everything, links for everything. You can go find it, Letterboxd, Goodreads, everything's on there. So go check that out. And thank you.
Any last words?
No. Oh shit, yeah.